mercy's for the weak? Who said forgiveness is for chumps? They say a coward dies 1,000 deaths, a soldier dies but once. Hey, they mourn you for a week and they forget you in a month. Who told you God doesn't exist? Who told you God was just a myth? Who planted seeds of disbelief inside your mind so you could trip? Hey, who told you Jesus doesn't love you? Who said you couldn't be forgiven? Do you not know how much he loves you? Listen, do you not know the king is risen? Who told you Christian rap was whack? Whoever said that man was whack. The truth that hit you hard and knock you flat down on your back. Who told you Christian rap was whack? Whoever said that man was whack. The truth hit you so hard and knock you flat down on your back. Hey, two things either happen. Hey, one, you gon' get mad and hate me for correcting you, for pointing out what's bad. Or two, you get convicted and cry out because you sad and ask God to forgive you for the trespasses you had. You either run to him or run from him. And I just pray you come to him. Put down all your blunts and guns and you say, Lord, I'm done with this. You run to him or run from him. I just pray you come to him. Put down all your blunts and guns and you say, Lord, I'm done with this. Everything they told me was a lie. And man, I know that now. It's only right we hit the streets and we expose that now. A dirty devil should have killed me. Hey, Holy Spirit, come and seal me. Fill me with new strength again. Now I'm feeling new inside. Lord, I abide in you and follow you where you abide. Fill me with new strength again. Now I'm feeling new inside. Lord, I abide in you and follow you where you abide. Hey, I confide in you with confidence, my Lord, cause greater is he who lives in me than he who's of this world. Hey, I confide in you with confidence, my Lord. Greater is he who lives in me than he who's of this world. Who told you God couldn't be trusted? Man, I'm trying to tell you, you could trust him. He loves you deeply, please believe me. He hates to see his children suffering. See, I don't know what all they told you, and I don't even know who told you. I just know that he's the answer. He gives hope, man, to the hopeless. I don't know what all they told you, and I don't even know who told you. I just know that Christ the answer. He gives hope, man, to the hopeless. Yo.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Beyond the Veil. I see there's 41 of you up here, and that's okay. It's kind of early, earlier than I usually go, and that's fine. Welcome, though. As you're coming in, if you guys don't mind, go on and hit that like button and subscribe button and the notification bell so that way you can get in on the next one, and also to get a little jump in the algorithm so we can get a little bit more people in here. And I say that because I never know which video will be my last upload. I already have 2 of the 3 strikes here on YouTube because of YouTube censorship and how they like to silence truth and silence things that go against their agenda. So I'm going to start this video off by saying, YouTube, this is for entertainment purposes only. The fact that you will go and try and delete this video and or hide stuff shows a lot of what you're trying to hide. So go on and tell on yourself if you want to and delete my page. Okay, so that's done. Let's continue moving forward. So if this is deleted later and you watch this, that means it's probably true. There you go, YouTube, telling yourself. I wonder if people have ever put YouTube in that situation. Well, there it goes today. All right, so we're going to get started. We have a lot to crack into, and I'm going to tell you this. This decode will be a lot of fun for you guys. And by that, I mean, this is crazy to me. All right. This is one of those that we've been digging into lately. And for people that are new coming in here, some of this stuff may at first be like, nah, it's coincidence. Oh, wait, what? Okay. I'm going to encourage you to go back and watch the many videos I've done on Peter, James, and John. Okay. Because what I'm going to present to you today, there's like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 15 different scenarios, okay? And all of them show the exact same situations and characters and names, all right? So before you watch the first 2 or 3 pop-ups on your screen and toss it off as a coinkydink, being the Bible does not teach coinkydinks, I would encourage you to continue forward a little longer and watch really what's presented here. This is absolutely nuts to me, okay? But before I get going, I just want to make sure that you guys can hear me all right. Let me see what we got going on over here. I see some yays and awesome, cool. I guess that means you guys can hear me. I'm just going to trust in that. So let's crack into this can of worms, so to speak. Can of real. I will say this though, okay? There's a lot going on in the world today, and your prayers are so important. All right. You guys need to understand the importance of prayers, especially when demons are involved around anywhere. You know, when the disciples approached Christ, they were like, look, we're having a problem with this demon. It will not come out, it won't budge. Have you got one of those in your life? Are you refusing to put something down? Are you like, nah, he means everything except for this? Okay. Well, he says certain demons require fasting. Fasting is what is done on the Sabbath, resting slash stopping from your wants, your desires, your needs, your things, your passions, stopping from those things. Okay. Fasting. Certain require fasting and prayer. This is why I love Isaiah chapter 58 when it teaches you how to keep the Sabbath. It's word for word. It starts off the first portion of the chapter teaching you how to rest slash fast. I hate the word rest due to the English language because it's been translated into sit on your couch and do nothing and stuff your face and da 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 da. No, Isaiah 58 teaches you exactly how to keep the Sabbath. What you do is what Christ did. Remember, on the Sabbath, he was picking grain and he fed his disciples, okay, before his own needs. And he also told them, if your sheep falls in a ditch in the Sabbath, meaning a lost sheep, are you not going to go out and get it out and fetch it? You know, you have your whole week long, 6 days to prepare and get things together. And Friday is the last day of preparation of gathering your work week stuff. So that way on the Sabbath, you have things to give out to those in need. Isaiah 58 says, if you hold back your foot from your wants, your desires, your needs on the Sabbath, at the end of that day, after you go feed that orphan, that widow, that one that's in need over your own, it says, then at the end of that day, I will flow through you with restoration. Okay, that's where you get your recovery, not sitting on your butt watching ESPN and preparing for a party hardy night. All right. So certain things require fasting, stopping what you're doing, and praying and reaching for others first. Okay. Get rid of the demons in your life, put others in front of yourself. Okay. So that's huge, especially when we're dealing with stuff like this, like we're going to talk about today. Spiritual warfare is everywhere. And I tell you, the devil's hand is everywhere right now, too. Okay. Because we are indeed in his short season where him and the 10 kings, okay, have been given power for a short space, a short season to overcome the saints. Okay. It is what it is. All right. We've gotten way past that. All right. So, now that I've got a little bit more people up here, I can actually get started. Let me get my screen share pulled up for you guys. Okay, cool. All right, so if you're new here, this is your first time ever on Beyond the Veil, welcome. I will say this, all right? I encourage you to watch this video right here next, all right, from last night if you missed it. It's very, very important video, okay? And then before that, kind of go backwards in order. You can, it's perfectly fine. It'll be a build up for you, all right? But always, always, always be sure to check my playlist section because all this Peter, James, and John stuff I've gotten together for you guys right here. Okay. Uh-oh. Hold on one sec. Okay. So here you have a playlist of everything involving Peter, James, and John that we have talked about in the past. Okay. That I encourage you to go check out. All right. Playlists are very important to look at because I put a lot of work in gathering that stuff for you. Hard to sort through 200 some video or 198 videos, but go through these, okay? Very important stuff, all right? And maybe it'll make more sense to you. With this Peter thing, I maybe watched the Peter the Last Pope decode I did and all of that. Crazy. All right. Well, today is going to be nuts. All right. We're going to be looking into several things. Peter Pan, Peter Rabbit, Peter Cottontail, Pan, Jack and the Beanstalks, Jack and Jill. Let's see what else we've got up here at the top. Peter Piper picked a pail of pickled peppers. We're going to be talking about a lot of stuff that is really, really going to blow your mind. We're going to start talking about Goldilocks and her three bears. A lot of everything. And I'm telling you, it'll really get you good. Okay. So let's get into this. Peter Pan. I'll just go on and spill the beans, okay, for those new people. What we're going to be looking for here is Peter, James, and John, and Goldilocks, Mary, and her three bears, okay? All right. We're going to be looking for Peter, James, John, and Mary. And also, we know that someone else who emerges at the end is a Michael, okay? All of those names are going to be very important right now. Very important right now, okay? I can't wait. Peter Pan is a fictional character created by, this is so important. I've been telling you about those Hyperboreans up there, okay? The Scottish, the Nordics, the Scandinavians. If you're one of those, I'm not like saying you're doomed to hell. I'm saying that was the start of Hyperborean spread, okay? The Scottish novelist and playwright J.M. Barrie. So Peter Pan was created by a Nordic Scottish called. Let's see if you guys are gonna pick up on this. All right, called James Matthew Barry is his name. Because you must remember. Do you know who went straight to Spain after Christ resurrected and ascended to the heavens? You know who went and made himself, number one, the head of the church, made himself the greatest in the church, and number two, went straight to Spain and implanted a church. Okay, we know about the Spaniards, and he called it himself James the Great because he wanted to be the greatest in the kingdom, just like his brother John, and they want to call it on fire on the Gentiles. Well, James went straight up there to Nordic Hyperborea. Okay, and here is all his his Scottish and Scandinavian roots. So J.M. Barrie is the writer of Peter Pan, amongst many other things. But let's read a little bit more. Okay, a free-spirited and mischievous young boy who can fly and he never grows up, meaning this: he always escapes death and he will not die. He cannot die. He just stays alive and stays young. Okay, and he's also able to travel between worlds. He's able to go to the outer darkness, abyss slash the star slash Neverland, and he's also able to travel to Earth, to London, where the Basilica of St. Peter is. Literally, is where Peter Pan can go. Peter Pan can go to his basilica in London, or he can also go over to this star in Neverland where he has his Native American Lost Boys. Okay, so here's this, all right. Peter Pan spends his never ending childhood having adventures on the mythical island. Remember, I'm telling you about James and John and Peter and their islands of adventure. A lot. Okay. Peter Pan is never ending childhood having adventures on the mythical island of Neverland as a leader of the Lost Boys, interacting with fairies, pirates, mermaids, Native Americans, and occasionally ordinary children from the world outside of Neverland. Lost sheep. Okay? I hear an echo going on somewhere. I think it's my phone, maybe. Yeah, there we go. I get it. All right. So here we go again. Peter Pan has become a cultural icon symbolizing youthful innocence and escapism, in addition to two distinct works by Barrie / James: The Little White Bird in 1902 with chapters 13 through 18, published in Peter Pan and Kissinger Gardens, and the West End stage play Peter Pan and the Boy Who Wouldn't Grow Up, 1904, which expanded in 1911 novel Peter and Wendy Darling, whose mother is Mary Darling, and whose little brother is John Darling, and his brother is Michael. And John and Michael and Mary, his children, Wendy, well, they go off with Peter to the island. Okay. Because remember, it's the three frog-like spirits that come out of the water at the end also. We've been talking about very importantly. All right. So I want to show you some things about Peter Pan here that's pretty wild. Because this is not just about Peter Pan, but just wait, okay? You need to know, okay? Pan himself is a Baphomet, okay? A Baphomet, marked as a beast, okay? But also, you need to know, Pan is also known for carrying the flute. Okay, like Pan, the god Pan, G-O-D, lowercase Pan, god Pan. All right. So Peter Pan is also seen with his flute here. Okay, whistling in the children, calling them in to another land. Okay, just like the Pied Piper. All of those have their magic pipes. Lord of the pipes, Lord of the fiddles, Lord of the flutes, Lord of the hollow reeds. Okay. Well, check this out. Do you know there's a statue of Peter Pan that was made in 1912? Well, do you know who made it? George James Frampton made the only statue of Peter Pan based off of James's book. That might be a rare coincidence, right? Maybe. But let's keep on going because of this. You need to know that Mary Martin, he played Peter Pan in the, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fourth one was played by a Mary also. We were looking for that name as well. I didn't even notice that till right then. I saw that over there. But I want to show you some more things just before we move forward to the other stuff, because it's going to get crazy here in a minute. Okay. Peter says that to live would be an awfully big adventure. That's like his favorite quote. Okay. But he has confused himself by saying to die would be an awfully big adventure. I want you guys to think back to not the Transfiguration, the Last Supper. Remember, a lot of stuff happened up there that a lot of people ain't paying attention to. Okay, Satan entering Judas. Right before that, you have literally Christ calling Peter Satan. Okay, take it how you want to. But in that room, something else happened. Okay, they were all talking about death and things like that, and Peter's like, addressed by Christ, and he says that, Peter, you are to die in a way in which you do not wish to die. You do not want to die. After he's told him many times to pick up a cross willingly and follow him and all of this stuff, well, he tells him, you're going to be stretched out and die in a way in which you do not want to. And Peter gets offended. He's like, wait, what? Well, what about John? Well, he looks over at John and he says, well, Peter, what is it to you if I want John to remain alive until I return? Well, Peter, being a callous rock, bounced right off him. He was like, wait, so you're saying that John's not going to die? He says, no. Some of you will not taste death until the coming of the Son of Man. Everybody hates that word, until. That's the whole thing with the 1,000-year reign. The 1,000-year reign happens until it's over, and then a short season goes to Satan. Okay? All right. Well, Peter gets really offended, and there's that whole situation there, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. Christ even said that even the ones who pierced him at that time would see him return on the clouds, and that he would be returning soon for that part. Okay, you need to know this. There's no resurrection that took place before he comes on the clouds, and he wasn't a liar. Okay, this is more of a 1,000-year reign stuff. You need to know that he told everybody about. There's this generation, but then there's a future generation as well. There's a coming of a new age, but then there's an end of the world time. Okay, there's two different things going on there. And he told them, he was like, multiple times. This is why also Revelation starts off with John. This is me, John, the one enduring these tribulations with you, because he was to stay alive until that returning. Okay, well, here we go. Let's move on forward. What's the best Geneva Bible to buy? $15.99 or the 1560 with footnotes would be awesome. Okay, hard copy. Amazon. Malcolm. So let's keep on going here, okay? Let's see here what we got here. I want to make sure I don't miss anything on this page because it's about to get nuts. All right, here we go. In the original play, Peter states that no one must ever touch him, though he does not know why. The stage directions specify that no one does so throughout the play. Wendy approaches Peter to give him a kiss, Thimble, but is prevented by Tinker Bell. The builder, remember Bell, the master builder we've been talking about as well? Well, that's the whole tinkering, Tinker Bell, who's Peter Pan's little puppet. Okay. However, John Cade and Trevor Nunn's introduction to the script, meaning who else had their hand in the script of Peter Pan? John, and whatever this guy Trevor is also. It's weird. But anyway, introduction of the script in 1997, Royal National Theatre production states that this was never Barry's original intention and was only added to the production in 1927, while John Forbes Robertson took the title role and played the part of the lighter, more fairy-like physicality. Robertson was to play the part almost every year until 1939. Jean it all depends on where you go. Just like Juan in Spain, your Mexican Spanish Bible is actually John. It's called Juan 3:16. You need to know. Johannes, all of those are also forms of John, along with some other things we're going to be pulling up as well. Okay. So let's start looking at some other things. So, all right. So there's Mammy. All right. There's the family of Peter Pan that he ran away from. He had a name Peter. That was Peter, I believe it's Banning. His name was Peter Banning. Before he went to Neverland, he had his name changed to Peter Pan. We have done many decodes on Pan. You need to know, guys, Pan is another word for Smith. If that's confusing you, make sure you go back and check out those live streams on that. Okay? Hence John Smith in the New World also and stuff like that. Well, Smith is another word for Pan. All right? All right. So there's Peter Pan, okay, and his family that he ran away from, and you don't really ever hear about or see them, okay? But Peter Pan, he meets a lost girl named Mammy Manninger. and the two become quickly friends. Peter marries her, okay? But what happens is Peter is considered the predecessor of Wendy Darling. Okay, now here's where things get crazy. Did you know that Peter and Wendy also they fall in love? But then after Wendy's gone, you need to know he marries Wendy's child and has a baby with her. I'm going to talk about that here in a minute. And then after that, Peter Pan marries the child after that because he can live forever, but Wendy grows up. Okay, and she leaves behind a seed in which he can continue bringing forth a child. Wild stuff to me once you read through this crazy background story of this stuff. But there's also this, all right? There's John Darling and Michael Darling, who are the sons of Mary. You need to know, okay, when Christ was asked, who are these people around you? He said, these are my brothers and this is my mother, aka Mary. All right. James and John wanted to be seated at the right and left hand of Christ as the greatest in the kingdom and call down fire on the Gentiles. So he calls them sons of thunder, which in Greek, you need to know, is sons of Zeus. Okay. That's where that actually comes from. Barabbas. All right. I can't never say it right. But anyway, they were called literally sons of thunder. But you need to know also what took place on the cross. Christ looks down at Mary and John and says, Mother, behold your son. Son, behold your mother. Okay, as he gives over the children. This is why you have the woman with the crowned with 12. She has the 12 children given to her, adorned with 12 stars. Okay, she's given 12 disciples, 12 children. Okay, well, here's John and Michael Darling, the son of Mary and George Darling. If you look at some of the other footage, the other films, it's John Michael and Mary Michael, and John Michael is passed down to their son, the oldest John. Michael is how John Darling, which is how he got his name. In this one, it's George Darling. Okay, but here's this. Mrs. Darling is actually named after James Barrie, the maker of Peter Pan's wife. You got it. James Barrie, the writer of Peter Pan, right here. Well, he is married to, you got it, Mary. John is married to Mary Ansell. Strange, right? I believe is very strange, okay? Especially when you start looking at all the other stuff I'm going to present to you guys. Watch this, okay? Here's this. Coming this year, folks. No chance and coincidence. Watch this. This is coming out this year. You know how they do things like this? Well, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare comes out this year, okay? And guess what? Let's look at some things, all right? You have Captain Hook, whose name is Captain James Hook. Don't believe me? Well, here's right here. Charity Case plays Captain James Hook. So what you have is John, Bell, Michael, James, okay? Tiger Lily is the opposite of Wendy. Tinkerbell gets jealous, okay? Because Tiger Lily kisses Peter Pan. You need to know something, okay? Who is Lily? Well, that's Lilith, okay? There's always a fight between the two girls and the one. That's the Lilith Eve situation that I've presented many times. Well, there's your Tiger Lily, Lilith as well, on top of your Mary Darling and Peter I was telling you about as well. But check this out. All right. In this movie, you have this also. You have, where was it at? Mary Darling. I want to show you this, that it is indeed Mary Darling. Even in this one, they kept that Mary name, John Darling. Okay. Let's see what else we got. Oh, and there's another John here, just to show you that this John is different than this John, but they're both Johns, and they're both in the same thing. Okay. But let's keep on going even further because it's about to get really weird. All right. You know, there's 7 deadly sins of Satan, and there's also 7 golden lampstands before the Father. Okay. It's a real thing. There's the 7 deadly sins, which are actually depicted right there in Shazam. Okay. There's the ones made good and righteous or whatever, but then there's the bad, the 7 deadly sins, and they're all represented as a physical demon. All right. Gluttony, pride, arrogance, etc., etc. Okay. Well, do you know how many Lost Boys there are? There's 7. And each one of those Lost Boys, let me check. This blows my mind. Watch. Each one of these Lost Boys has a different sin they struggle with, including the twin flames at the end. Okay. Each one of these 7 kids has a different trait that actually falls into stuff. which is pretty wild, okay? Because there's Nibs, which is happy and possibly the bravest lost boy. The only thing he remembers is that his mother is, and she always wanted to check a checkbook and says he would love to give it to her. His is centered on greed and money. That's just one of the examples of the 7. All right. All right. Cool. And once again, this is all put together by James M. Barrie. All right. So let's keep on going from this. So we got a lot of other stuff to get into. All right. So remember I've been telling you guys the importance of the crocodile Leviathan, but also there being the octopus, the Kraken. Well, check this out, guys. In Peter Pan, you have Captain James Hook with his one eye symbolism and one hand symbolism and one leg. If your right eye causes you sin, cut it off. If your right arm causes you sin, cut it off. Okay. You have him out there as the antagonist, Captain James Smith. But you also have this. What's his antagonist? The crocodile Leviathan. Okay. But that crocodile Leviathan actually turns into this, the octopus. The octopus. A giant orange octopus who replaces the crocodile for some unknown reason. That's Captain Hook's enemy, and who wants to eat them because he enjoys his taste. He makes plip plop noises with his eyes and sucker reminiscence of the crocodile's tickling. In the end, he sinks Hook's ship and causes Hook and his crew, whom he mistaken for fish, into the distance. So you even have that. Do you remember I was telling you about Mary Jane? You know, Mary Jane and Peter Parker? Spider-Man? Well, Jane's important too, like Jane Doe and John Doe. And your John Hancock, Johnny Bravo, John Henry, Johnny Appleseed, Jack and the Beanstalk. Okay, look, let's just keep on going here. Okay, here you go. Okay, Gwendolyn Jane Mary Darling Carceline is a human girl whom Peter brings to Neverland. Peter brings Jane Mary to Neverland and descendant of Wendy Darling. So it's not only just the Mary thing, but it's the Jane thing I was telling you about as well. Okay. Now, there's also a spinoff called Jake and the Neverland Pirates. We need to know this. Watch this. Watch this. Oh, I didn't type in son. Okay, there we go. Yes, the name James is a variant of the name Jacob. Okay, but did you know this as well? Jack. Oh, I didn't want to get it so small for you guys, but I'll zoom in for it. Jack is a nickname for John and James and Jake or Jacob. Okay, so now think about Jack Sparrow, played by Johnny Depp, who descends down to the bottomless pit. Okay, well, Jack and the Beanstalk and Jack and Jill is really James and John and Jill, James and John and the Beanstalk, James and John and the Pirates of the Caribbean. Okay, or you can say Jacob. Well, Joachim. Well, this is also important because of the movie. You guys aren't going to believe this. The cartoon. What's it called? Amy, what's that cartoon I like? Hold on. I'm trying to think of it. It's got the Manolo. It's got Joachim and Manolo. And they go together over Maria. It's Maria and John and Jacob. Okay, Jacob Manolo. Cannot remember the name of it. Oh, Book of Life. It's actually called Book of Life, about James and John and Maria, and then descending into the underworld as dead, but coming back to life resurrected as well. If you haven't seen that cartoon, it's so much stuff in there, including the names Maria, James, and John. Joachim. Okay, let's keep on going. Thank you for the help in there, guys. All right. So now as you see that, I want to come back here, okay? Just keep Jack in your mind. Okay? So now let's move on forward because it's about to get nuts. All right. Now let's really blow your mind. I can't take full credit for this one. Miss Karen Stone, I know you're in here somewhere. Miss Karen Stone and me had a really big mind-blowing conversation. Miss Karen witnessed her first ever, like me actually coming to conclusions on things in her house with her husband. Okay? Well, this really blew my mind. Okay? Let's talk about Pan, the god Pan. All right. The god Pan is the god of the wild and shepherds and flocks. Okay. Well, you need to remember, what did Christ say to Peter? Hey, Peter, if you love me, feed my flock. Hey, Peter, if you love me, watch my sheep. If you love me, guard my flock. Is what Christ told Peter. He said, "Hey, Peter, take over this flock stuff." Okay. Well, that's what Pan is. And you know what's even more nuts than that? What's really crazy than that? Well, is when you actually start looking at this Pan God, who's just like Peter Pan with the pipes and everything and tricking others into doing things. Okay. Well, Pan is accompanied. It's never just Pan. This is crazy to me. It's Pan and two other boys. All right. Dionysius, which I try to tell you guys, is Apollo, Donald John Trump. And then there's Peter Pan. And then there's Satire. Can you believe who that is? That's James. All right. So once again, you have Peter, James, and John always seen together since the beginning of this whole thing. All right. That's where this comes from. So let's move on forward because this is where things get crazy. Well, do you know this? Where's the Temple of Pan located, folks? The Temple of Pan was an idol temple in Caesarea Philippi, which is modern Banias, Israel, that was dedicated to the Greek god pastoralism, which is Pan. Idol temple dedicated to the Greek god Pan. Well, this is in Caesarea Philippi. Well, watch this, guys. Do you know where Peter was told he would be the rock in which Christ would build his church, but Christ is going to be the cornerstone? Satan's the rock from the gates of hell, in which he was told, hey, I'm going to give you these keys, and whatever you loose on earth is going to be loosed in heaven. Hence the Pope and his keys right now. Okay? Well, watch this, folks. The Temple of Pan is in Caesarea Philippi, right? You ready for your mind to blow? Watch this. Now, when Jesus came into the coast of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, saying, who do you men say that I am? And they say, some say John the Baptist, some say Elijah, and others Jeremiah and one of the prophets. He said unto them, but whom say ye that I am? And Simon Peter answered and said, thou art the Christ, the Son of the living God. And Jesus answered and said unto him, blessed art thou, Simon, son of Jonah, which means John. I've pointed out to you guys, for flesh and blood hath not revealed it to you, but my Father. Meaning Peter can't take any credit for that. That was just revealed by his Father. Okay. And I say unto thee that thou art Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church. Okay. Do you know what's missing here? Well, you need to know this, okay? Peter, and upon this rock I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not overcome it. Okay? And I will give unto thee the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever thou shalt bind upon earth shall be bound in heaven, whatever shall be loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven. The charge of his disciples, that should tell no man that he was Jesus Christ. Well, you need to know this. He made Peter the rock in which the Peter Pan temple was built. Let me make sure you understand this, okay? The Temple of Pan was erected in Caesarea Philippi, where Christ took Peter to establish that he would be the rock in which the gates of hell would not prevail or hold him back, and he would have the keys to go to and from the gates of hell and on to earth, and gates of hell and on to earth, and to one place and to another, and all these things. Well, that happened at the same place where the Temple of Pan is today. Okay? I think that is wild. Let's keep on going. Okay? Now let's look at Peter Piper. Do you know who wrote Peter Piper? Well, I'm sure you can guess. It was written by a guy named John. John Harris published Peter Piper, picked a pail of pickled peppers. Okay? But he's picked these vegetables, these fruits, but he came out with nothing. So they made a different version. Watch this. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Piper picked? Or Peter Piper picked? Did all that harvesting of fruit for nothing and came out with nothing. So they come up with a new version. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, how many pickled peppers did Peter Piper pick if he picked a peck of pickled peppers? Well, a peck is 606. Okay, if you didn't know that, 606 is, I forgot, I don't know how many ounces or whatever, but I know that's the number used for that, by the way. But I wanted to show you that even that was created by a man named John, and it's all about harvesting vegetables and fruits and coming out with a basket full, right? Well, watch this. Let's look at something else, okay? Let's look at the Pied Piper. Do you know who the Pied Piper really is? Well, he'll tell you down here. This is on the Disney website. In the show on Disney, the Pied Piper is revealed to be the identity of Peter Pan. Okay? Peter Pan is the Pied Piper. Okay? The Pied Piper are the ones that steal the children from the town. They die and go to the Lost Cheese City in the sky. Okay? That's what it says, the imaginary illuminated city. Okay? But before that, he snatched all the rats out. First, he brings all the rats out of the town with his little pipe. And then he's like, oh, they ain't going to pay me right. So I'm going to bring all the children out of the town. I'm going to take all the children. This is what Peter Piper picked up peppers while he played his pipe as the Pied Piper Peter Pan did. Peter Pan. Okay. So even this was once again all about a Peter Pan. Okay. Let's see what else. I don't want to miss anything. I don't want to miss nothing over here. Let me just double check on some things. No, I don't think there's much more up here besides Balefire, okay, and Rumpelstiltskin, okay, being involved in this. If you've watched Once Upon a Time, all that stuff will make sense to you as well. Okay, but let's move on forward. I want to show you something else. Okay, do you guys know about the movie Peter Rabbit? Let's look at Peter Rabbit. Peter Rabbit is played by James Corden. Okay. This he plays Peter Rabbit. Okay. And then you have this. Do you everybody know the story of Peter Rabbit and his mean owner who tries to run him out of the garden and tries to get him and everything like that, who's made himself the ruler of the farm? Well, his name is Domhnall. Do you know what Domhnall stands for? Mr. McGregor, the main antagonist of the movie against Peter Rabbit, until at the end they come together. Okay. Do you know who Domhnall is? Well, Domhnall is, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything else up here. Domhnall is another word for, in Scottish, once again, Domhnall is another word for Donald. And I did some research. Check out what I found from the 1400s. Donald, Lord of the Isles. Remember Donald John Trump and the Lord of the Flies and the Lord of the Island and all that stuff? Well, Donald, Lord of the Isles, or in Scottish, Domhnall, okay, was the son and successor of guess who? John of the Isles, Lord of the Isles, and chief of Clan Donald, aka rulers of the world, is John and Donald. The lordship of the Isles was based on around the Scottish west coast island of Islay, but under Donald's father had come to include most of the Isles in the lands of Summerland. The king of the Isles in the 12th century, Donald's predecessor, including Morvaran, Gomeran, whatever these names are in the mainland. Okay. Well, Donald spent some of his first years as the Lord of the Isles, suppressing a revolt by his brother, John. So he's got a dad named John, his name's Donald, and his brother's name is John. John was Donald's younger brother. But guess who Donald guess who Donald, Lord of the Isles, is married to? He's married to Mary. Hence the word marry in marriage. And he's predecessed by John of the Isle. Now let's keep on going. This is crazy. Let's move on even further, folks. All right. Now let's look at Clan Donald. I don't know. I think I had this one up just doing some extra stuff, except for the fact that they include Old MacDonald in this one. MacDonald. They changed to that McDonald, which you see over everywhere. Oh, sweet. Guess who the chief is? Guess who the chief is, folks? Guess who the chief of this whole clan is? Godfrey James McDonald. That whatever. And guess what else? The eighth Baron Trump, Baron John Trump, Baron McDonald, who becomes also the chief of the name of the arms of McDonald. So here you go, folks. James, John, and Peter, but the greatest is James McDonald. Okay? All right. Coincidence, right? Just wait. Okay. Let's go. Oh, ooh, this is around the same time as King James. And wow, I wasn't even reading all this stuff because I wasn't going to include all this, but wow. Seeing all kinds of more stuff I could include in this live stream, but we've already got enough. Watch this. Let's look at Peter Rabbit a little bit more. Okay. Peter Rabbit, the story, not the movie we just talked about with James Corden as Peter Rabbit and Donald as the Mr. McGregor. I'm talking about the nursery rhyme. Okay. The nursery rhyme in which James Corden from Present plays. Okay. I'm talking about this one. Well, let's read some stuff up here. Let's see if we can find anything in here. Sure we can. Okay. Oh, here we go. Remember I was telling you about the Scotland stuff. Well, that's the place in which this resides, that Nordic area up there, okay? In which there's that whole battle between Mr. McGregor. Let me just see I really think there was something important on this page. I know it. I wouldn't have had it pulled up here if it wasn't. Oh. Okay. There it goes. Yeah. Guess who Mr. McGregor is married to and said, oh my goodness, Peter Rabbit. Well, James Corden plays Peter Rabbit, right? And Domhnall here is married to Rose, whose first name is really Mary. Mary and Donald and James. Mary and John and James. Got to be a coincidence. Let's just move forward. Okay, that's got to be. Let's go. Let's do. Here comes Peter Cottontail. This one's completely different, right? It can't be nothing. It can't be nothing in this one except for the fact that it was written by Jack Rollins. Okay, Jack meaning John and James. If you didn't know that, okay. But let's read on this a little bit. Okay. All right, where we are. I think I have it actually. Oh, wait. Where's the Peter Cottontail rhyme that I had pulled up? Let me see if it's still up here. Let me see. Come on. I'm going to have to pull it back up. I had the actual. Okay, here it goes. Peter Cottontail lyrics. Now, do you remember the Catholic Church, aka the Pope, has brought the following pagan traditions back? Easter and Christmas, okay, are two apostates that have been inserted into the modern day body of Christ. They're going around worshiping still Christmas and Easter, right? Introduced by the Pope, no joke, okay? We'll read this song about Peter Cottontail. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hop hop, Easter's on its way. Bringing every girl and boy baskets full of Easter joy, things to make your Easter bright and gay. He's got jelly beans for Tommy, color eggs for Sister Sue. There's an orchid for your mommy and an Easter bonnet too. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity, hoppity, hippity, Easter day. Here comes Peter Cottontail, hopping down the bunny trail. Hippity hopping, Easter is on its way. Try to do the things you should. Maybe if you're extra good, you'll roll lots of Easter eggs your way. You'll wake up on Easter morning and you'll know that he was there. when you find those chocolate bunnies that he's hiding everywhere. Oh, here comes Peter Cottontail hopping down the bunny trail, hippity hoppity, happy Easter day. Let's move forward. Okay. I just thought that was nuts because I have to show you this as well. Do you remember I was telling you about Walter E. Jack, the one who actually wrote Peter? Here comes Peter Cottontail. Okay. Rollins is the writer of Here Comes Peter Cottontail, and his name is Walter Ingle Jack. Okay, is what they call him. Jack meaning what? Well, I've tried to tell you guys. Jack means John, James, Jake, and Jacob. Okay, so here you go, folks. The writer of Here Comes Peter Cottontail and the Easter Bunny Trail was written by Jack Rollins, Walter E. Jack Rollins / James and John Rollins. Okay, and this is him. What's important about that is, what's crazy is he goes and has a son. Okay, if I can find him, whose name is James, who writes the other thing about Christmas. You have Peter bringing in Easter. Well, James brings in the Christmas tunes of Frosty the Snowman. And he is the grandson of Jack, John, and James. Is James Boozman. Okay? And he is indeed the writer of Christmas musical. Okay? You have one introducing Easter and one introducing Christmas. Okay? Well, call it a coincidence. We're pretty deep in this thing now. Let's go on forward. Okay? All right. Okay, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything. All right. Yep. Keep on going. Now we have this one. Jack and the Beanstalk, which means James and John and the Beanstalk. If you want to be specific. Okay? If you want to be specific, that's what it is. Okay. I don't have the chat box pulled up, so I don't know if this is blowing your mind or anything. I'm trying not to get distracted because this is crazy to me, but I'm really hoping you're getting into the rhythm. Okay? All right, check this out. Jack and the Beanstalk was written by Jack and the Beanstalk, which means James and John and the Beanstalk, was written by James V. Hart. Okay? James V. Hart wrote Jack and the Beanstalk, folks. Okay? Can't make this up. And here's this. Jack Robinson is the guy's name. Okay? Well, I told you Jack means James and John, but here's this. He tries very hard to stay healthy with the help of his who? Jonathan Hyde, the manager of the business affairs. We have this. We have another guy, another John. So you have Jack, which means James and John, who's helped by Jonathan Hyde and John Volt. Maybe as a coincidence, right? Sure. Well, didn't you know this? James Corden is also in said Jack and the Beanstalk as one of the main characters, along with who? Well, John Volt. That's what I was telling you. There he is. All right. That's all. There's that whole can of craziness to that stuff right there, right? That you can read into all you want to. But this one's the same thing. You got Jack, James, and John trying to elevate themselves, lift themselves to the ceilings, lift themselves to the heavens, trying to elevate themselves as the greatest in the kingdom. Jack climbs the beanstalk, but what does he do? He ultimately sets loose the giants which come onto the earth. Jack and the Beanstalk is about James and John and their opening the giants, bringing them onto the earth, wanting to elevate themselves above everyone else. Hence the term jacking, like a jack, like you jack up stuff, you lift it up. Okay? That's where that English language is in plain sight. You jack things, you lift them up. You jack up a house, you lift it up. Okay? Jack means James and John. Every time you say you're jacking your car up, you're saying you're James and John. You're lifting up. Wow, this is mind-blowing to me. Cool. All right, hold on one sec. All right, let me move forward, guys. All right. Now this will really blow your mind. You know it's Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Well, don't you ever wonder why it's also, I've been telling you guys about Mary and the three James, Johns, and Peters. Well, it's in your face in Goldilocks and the Three Bears, but also in this, folks, you have literally Goldilocks and her three pets, three boys, which happen to be her uncles, relatives. Okay. You have Goldilocks and her three pets, her three boys. And guess what, guys? Guess who plays the Tin Man? John James Pironi played the Tin Man in the production of The Wizard of Oz. And guess what? Let's see some other things. Sure, there's more. Well, wowzer. We have the other John character who played Frank. Who was Frank? Well, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I believe that Frank was the dad of Mary. Of Dorothy. Right? I mean, I'm just putting stuff together here in front of you. You can read it yourself. Okay? All right. I think that is absolutely nuts. So, the Tin Man, okay, is indeed James John Pironi. Okay, and you have Goldilocks and her three pets, Mary, Peter, James, and John. One is scared to die, scared to death, to die. The other one doesn't have a heart for the Gentiles. He doesn't have a heart for people. Okay, now and then we have the Scarecrow, who's real brave. Real brave. Okay, but he don't have a brain, no common sense. Okay, let's move forward. Just wanted to show you that. And it's no telling who even wrote The Wizard of Oz. I didn't even really, let me see if I can find some stuff on this, because I was just blown away by what I pulled up there. Let's see what we got over here. Oh, Jack Haley. Oh, that's John Joseph Haley Jr. All right, let me see. No, I'm sure there's probably not much more up here. We've already done kind of decodes on that mess in the background with The Wizard of Oz. So we can move on past that. There's been a lot of people that's broken into The Wizard of Oz and Peter Pan too. I do know the whole story of Peter's really the bad guy. Captain Hook was trying to save the children that had been stolen by Peter, etc. He took the lost sheep. He took the lost flock. He took them and made them North Americans, if you want to be specific. Okay, I'm excited. Let's watch this one. Do you know who wrote Goldilocks and the Three Bears? James Marshall. James Marshall wrote Goldilocks and the Three Bears, folks. Okay. Sweet. Sweet. That's weird, right? I think it's pretty weird. Okay. But then there's this. What about the book Jack and Jill? They went up a hill. They lifted James and John and Mary went up a hill to elevate themselves, to try and lift themselves up. But the crown in which he was given was broken, and he fell back down to the bottom. So you got James, John, and Mary went up the hill to fetch a pail of water, but Jack fell down and broke his crown that he was given, and Jill came tumbling after him, like a mother after her lost boy. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of water. Jack fell down and broke his crown, and Jill came tumbling after. Up Jack got, and home did trot as fast as he could caper. Went to bed to mend his head, because she remembers the head wound that heals, with vinegar and brown paper. Jill came in, and she did grin to see this paper plaster. Mother vexed did whip her next for causing Jack's disaster. She got punished. Little Jack. No, I had never even seen this one. Remember, it's Mary Jane. Well, let's read something else, folks. Oh, I love this stuff. In the introduction to his work, Go-Bright makes the claim that the two-stanza version of the original nursery rhyme was in earlier editions, followed by two more. And this one, I tried to tell you, it's Mary, James, and John, because it's little Jane ran up the lane to hang her clothes a-drying. She called for Nell to ring the bell. for Jack, meaning James and John, and Jill were dying. Nimble Dick ran so quick he tumbled over a timber and bent his bow to shoot a crow and killed a cat in the window. Jack and Jill went up the hill to fetch a pail of milk. Oh, Jack was dressed in his Sunday best. Here's your Sunday worship by James, John, and Peter. And Jill in her gown of silk. Oh, remember the woman is dressed in the fine silk and linen, dressed in purple, adorned with pearls. And then she has Peter, James, and John as her little puppets. Wow. Guess who composed? No way. It's no way this is real. Guess who composed Jack and Jill Went Up the Hill? James William Eliot. Well, that's weird because of this. He also published the Mother Goose's nursery rhymes in general. All your Mother Goose nursery rhymes are created by James William Eliot. Maybe you think that's a coincidence, but the Victorian composer Alfred James Caldecott, who distinguished himself by making a separate nursery rhyme about Jack and Jill. So Jack and Jill was written by James William Eliot, and another Jack and Jill was written by Alfred James. Okay. That's enough. Oh, snap! There's a Peter. Peter, look, you can't make this up, folks. You can't. It is what it is. Peter Mason. Okay. Who applied modern techniques and understanding to the literature and play. That was Peter who made a play form of it. So you have a play form made by Peter, and you have two written forms made by James and James. Okay. Well, let's move on forward. Now we have a thriller novel. Don't get this one confused, okay? This one's a little different. This is a thriller novel that's been released. And this one was written by James Patterson about a serial killer duo named Jack and Jill, which John and James Jill, who target politicians and celebrities. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. Well, or you can also hear Jack and Jill read by James Earl Jones. All right. So look, let me show you this. Let me show you this, guys. Look, I want to show you something. James Earl Jones is James Earl John, by the way. Well, watch this. I want to show you something I found. Okay. Where is it at? I gotta find it. Don't want to get so distracted though. But James Earl, guess who played the voice of Darth Vader? Darth Vader on the dark side, who's the greatest of the dark side, is played by James Earl Jones. Is literally Darth Vader himself. And also, he's Mufasa. The greatest in The Lion King is James Earl Jones. James Earl Jones is the Lion King Mufasa. James Earl Jones is Darth Vader. All right, well, just make sure we're done. Okay. Well, that happened really quick too, in less than an hour. Well, just an hour. What you think? Pretty crazy, right? I believe so too. Okay. And by the way, I went through almost every single nursery rhyme that you can think of, and every single nursery rhyme that you can think of was centered around James, John, and Peter and Mary. Pretty crazy. I think this is wild. Wild, 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 wild. All right. So, there it is. Take it how you want to take it, because that was one of my favorite live streams I've ever done in my whole life. Okay. I'm telling you, I've made a lot of live streams. This one has been mind blowing to me. This one's been a lot of fun to me. There's actually stuff I didn't even include in this one that I wanted to include, but I didn't know about time purposes. Wow. Peter, James, and John and Mary. You got it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this one, because I did. Okay, I'm going to leave this one as a short video so people can't say all my videos are an hour and a half, 2 hours. Now they can say there's one that's actually an hour and 5 minutes. All right. So I'm going to get off of here so I can throw together another live stream for you either tonight or in the morning. I don't know which one of it will be. Just keep a lookout. And I have about 3 other things I really want to share with you that I have been enlightened with in the last couple of days, thanks to the Father. He's the only one that can take credit for any of this. He uses everything in this world for his glory. Whatever you do is not of yourself. It's that Holy Spirit inside of you. Okay? Okay. Cool. You know, I think the craziest thing about this whole thing, which I don't know if some of you guys got here at the end and missed, but the whole Caesarea Philippi, where the temple of Pan was erected, was exactly where Peter was told that he would be the rock in which the gates of hell would not prevail, and he would bind and loose stuff onto the earth. Okay. All right. Well, look, guys, I love you so much, and I appreciate you sitting here for an hour and a little bit with me. I'll see you guys on the next one. Good night and or day from Beyond the Veil. Boom.